The reason the private offshore banks are able to get away with this because it's so incredibly outrageous. Coming up, we are going to be breaking that down with Bob Chapman next hour, theinternationalforecaster.com. Ron Paul slams Federal Reserve's new dictatorial powers. Congressman tells MSNBC that the very entity responsible for the economic crisis is now more powerful than Congress. Now, that's what Ron Paul said yesterday evening. We said yesterday morning in our article breaking this down at prisonplanet.com, Obama regulatory reform plan officially establishes banking dictatorship in the United States. And I've even gotten emails, people going, oh, it's not that bad. Okay, let me explain something. The banker bailout bill of last year said the Federal Reserve cannot be audited, cannot be looked into. None of the banks that are given the money can be investigated. The money can go to offshore banks. The money can go to China to pay them off to implement global carbon taxes. That was in USA Today. They can do whatever they want. They're offshore private corporation, and you don't have any say. And it's unlimited money. Now, they said that they would immediately spend the trillions of dollars, not $700 billion. They admitted that was just a really big number to put out there to you. The $700 billion was just a really big number, actually small compared to the real number, just so people could quantify that it wasn't an unlimited amount. But Bloomberg reports $14.8 trillion in the first 7 months since that bailout. And that number's a month old. We'll be getting new numbers soon. It makes me so angry. I can hardly even continue this radio show right now. I'm serious. I mean, this is so outrageous. People should be in the streets everywhere demanding that the Federal Reserve chairman be arrested, that all these criminal offshore thugs that have come in and engaged in a corporate takeover and then use the country like their own private credit card, running up the debt to the stratosphere in your names and your children's names. And so what new power could they get? Day one, they said, give us the bailout money and we will get the economy going and get the loans going. And now interest rates in reality are higher. People are like, wait a minute, interest rates are at zero. I don't mean interest rates for the banks. I mean the real interest rates are up. Less loans are being made. That's official numbers. Comprende? The economy is in free fall. It's depression level already, and it's going to be unbelievably bad. But the globalists are busy taking the tens of trillions they've stolen, speculating in the stock market, so some of the stocks are up, and that's fooling some of the people out there. Heaven help you. The real economy is dying, and everything is being fed into the casino stock market. It's all paper. It's all derivative crud. It's a fraud. It's a scam. And the bankers know that. They've got to take all these trillions and get real assets, and a lot of people aren't selling. Oh, GM, you're not going to sell. We'll just federalize you and sell you off to foreign corporations. Oh, your steel mills. The feds say that's part of vital infrastructure. They're seizing it and handing it over to foreign interest. Shareholders in the private Federal Reserve. So see, what new power could they get if they were already given total secrecy and unlimited funds back in October of last year? The next phase would be to call for a new Bank of the World with new regulatory powers over the planet. And they've now done that. And so their regional bank, the Federal Reserve, has to have the unlimited powers now so we can be ruled by this offshore behemoth. And so they're going to run the Congress, the White House, all private industries. The bill states anything and everything connected to the economy, they are over it. And they got paramilitary enforcers ready to come into your factory, your business, your restaurant, your car dealership and take it over. They are going to steal physically at the point of a gun everything this country's built. Look, we'll cover the financial stuff next hour. And I don't want to sound like a broken record on it. It's hardly anybody gets how big this is. That they've stolen more than the GDP in 7 months, $14.8 trillion. I mean, they're just destroying everything. Do you know what this means? And I've got all these economic numbers coming in, Housing prices dropped by 40% in New York. Another one, New York State unemployment soars a 33-year high. The government saying it's 10%. Every economist we have on, top economist, say it's 20%. And they're saying it's going to go to more like 30 in the next few years. You know what that means? That's higher than the Depression. And they're openly taking the stimulus money and hiring youth brigades that march around in red and black uniforms. And the New York Times reports they're hiring felons for the youth brigades. I mean, I'm living in the outer limits or twilight zone. I'm sick of it. I got children that live in this country. It's really happening. Everything the old-timers warned us about with the New World Order, because they were in and out of government, they were in the military, they saw this being set up, they read the documents. Let me just tell you some of the news I've got here in front of me. Coming up, Ron Paul slams Federal Reserve new dictatorial powers, makes the point it's a dictatorship of the Fed. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God Ron Paul recognized it. I've been freaking out the last 2 days for somebody to recognize this, and finally he comes out and agrees with me. Literally, other, quote, patriot sites are like, it's not that bad. What do you think it is when they're in Time and Newsweek calling for a Bank of the World to, quote, knock the heads of the American people? That's a quote, knock our heads. A world government that's going to knock our heads, like we're responsible for this. And they're saying, well, we need regulators to stop the corrupt banks and brokerage firms after what they did. The Federal Reserve is the holding company for the very banks that did this. Give them authority to regulate themselves? I am so mad I feel like just smashing the microphone, smashing the studio, and just leaving. I am sick of doing this, and I'm sick of the cowardly public that's so stupid that they're allowing themselves to have their entire birthright stolen. I'm getting a pounding headache. This only happens every once in a while, and you know, sometimes I even end the show when this happens. I just go to rebroadcast because I am feeling extremely angry right now, and it's a rage I can't control. And and you know what? You can call me a weirdo because I get angry about my entire future being destroyed, my children going into offshore banker slavery, the end of the Bill of Rights, the end of the Constitution, all these bills to ban the Second Amendment in Congress with the bastard media saying none of it exists, youth brigades in red and black uniforms marching around, Homeland Security documents saying all protest is terrorism, all the Army training manuals, public mainstream news say any protesting is terrorism, all gun owners are terrorists, all veterans are terrorists. Bull, I almost said it. Bull, you are the terrorist. You people are illegitimate criminal filth. I can't blow up because I'll lose my energy, and I have to work all night on a film I'm working on. So I just hold on. Okay, I got control there. All right. Look at this. Stanford arrested by FBI outside girlfriend's home. You got to love how they're arresting one of the mid-level little criminals that stole, 8 to 20 billion, they're not sure, like Madoff with 50 to 100 billion, the founder of the NASDAQ, one of the people that helped set up this whole system. And then, he acted alone and his family gets to keep all the money. Sure, he swindled people of over $100 billion. The media says 50 billion. Sure, he did all that by himself. Under investigation, an alleged $8 billion fraud involving sales and certificates of deposits through the antitrust bank. See, they sell those deposits. They leverage them. They fractional reserve them. Surrendered to federal agents. It was taken to federal custody, as lawyers said. Stanford, 59, surrendered yesterday to Federal Bureau of Investigation agents who were waiting outside his girlfriend's house in Fredericksburg, Virginia, said Dick DeGrenia, a lawyer for the Texas financier. Stanford is scheduled to appear today in the U.S. District Court in Richmond, according to a government official. And they're going to burn a few mid-level criminals involved in all this, but Bernanke, And the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, the ones running it all, Greenspan, nothing is going to happen to them. And that's why when Congress says, tell us where the trillions went, they say, I don't have to tell you, and I'm not going to tell you. And they tell Senator Sanders that, and they tell Ron Paul that in the House and Senate banking committees, and they go on TV and say we're above the law. And by the way, we're not just above the law now. We're not just outside the law and commit any crime we want. We now are going to have the Homeland Security and the Armed Department of Treasury and the FBI and everybody else under us with weapons. And we're going to come and take your businesses. You won't sell to us? Because, we got all these tens of trillions we've stolen and created out of nothing. We're going to come make you sell to us, or in some cases, they don't even make you sell. They just take it.